Meow everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. This is the chart for Clean Spark. We're looking at the monthly chart. And so far we got a little bit of a tweezer top going on the monthly, which is not the greatest look. But the month also still has some way to go. I think we still have about 14 trading days. A lot of things can happen. We'll see what happens. Why do we have a tweezer top? Because if you look at the Ichimoku cloud, you can see that right now the Ichimoku cloud is serving as resistance. The Ichimoku cloud level, if you want to really take a look at the actual level at the bottom of the cloud, is about 18.16. It's showing the green number right here, so it's 18.16. Price got above that briefly, but they got rejected yesterday, and it went all the way back down to about current level, which is at 16.8 or so. You can see that there's a pretty giant volume shelf right up here. The top of the volume shelf is around 19. The bottom of the volume shelf, depending on whether you want to look at this level, it'd be 15.7, or when you want to look at a lower level, that would be around 14.8 or so. Looks like it was able to find some support here at the bottom of this volume shelf at 14.8 early in the month, but it's just been kind of stuck into this volume shelf right here. It's also getting some decent support down here, but it also got rejected from the Ichimoku cloud right up here, which is expected because there's a lot of price history here in the past, and I do not expect it to go pass through right on the very first push through. Now, if you're looking for potential support, I think that this shelf right here could be good support around 16.5. Again, the shelf right below that, maybe around 15.7 or so. And then also 14.8 would potentially be a decent support here. And if you're looking for even lower support, you can see that there's already a Kijun cross right here, which is considered to be very bullish. And now both the monthly Tenkan, which is the red line here, and the monthly Kijun, which is the blue line right here, they're both going to serve as support moving forward. And the current levels are at, the Tenkan is at 13.4 and the Kijun is at 12.6. So there's plenty of support underneath. In addition to all that, you're also looking at a Bollinger Band here. What's happening right now is that the price has gone a little bit out of hand. It's way outside upper Bollinger Band. It's just kind of a little bit in space. So it's presumably understandable that it wants to wait for the Bollinger Band to expand a little bit more, especially the upper Bollinger Band, allowing the price to go even higher. The 20-month moving average is very, very strongly curled up. I mean, this is a very strong bull trend. This is something that would most likely would continue to go up a lot higher over the next few months at least. But it's just going to take its time because this is a monthly chart. I just showed you some of the potential support on the monthly chart. In addition, I think volume is also very high. I think it's probably going to continue to push up, but it might just be needing to wait for Bollinger Band to expand a little bit further. And meanwhile, you might have a little bit more correction down underneath at these support levels that I was mentioning earlier. It might feel very painful to you, but sometimes they may be necessary to kind of establish a better base, although it's not necessarily so that it's going to end up going back down and test all this, because it does have a very strong bull trend, and price could very well close above the upper Bollinger Band for the month. Now, the other thing to look into is the weekly chart. Now, instead of looking at the Bollinger Band, I can look at the weekly moving averages. Right now you have 20 stacking over 50, stacking over 100 week SMA. All of those are pointing positive. This is a very, very strong bull trend. It's just made a higher high, made a higher low, and now is in the process of making a higher high. There's always a possibility for it to go down to some of these levels down here. Again, I did mention to you already on some of the support levels on the volume shelves right here. And there's a potential for it to always go down lower. I mean, I think 13 is a potential level, and this would be kind of like a back test of this breakout level right there. So 13 is also a potential level that it could go back to, especially in the next week or two, when the 20-week moving average is really going to start pushing up. Now, 20 moving average also going to be consisting of the bull market support band, which is a combination of the 20-week SMA as well as 21-week exponential moving average. So you're also going to have some support that's going to push up here when price gets to around 13, if it does. you're going to have some support here to kind of really push price up higher. Now, if it gets to 13, I do think that is probably going to be a pretty decent level to buy, although there's no guarantee because of how parabolic the uptrend has been for CleanSpark. But that's also something to kind of think about. Is it going to go down to 13? Should I sell everything here and wait for 13 to happen? I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm just going to kind of hold on to what I have because it's making higher lows and higher highs. Got a bull trend on the weekly, and on the monthly, it also still looks pretty strong because of the recent bullish taking Kitchen Cross. But would I be surprised if it goes back down to 13 or even wick down lower to maybe like 11.5? No, I would not be surprised by any of that, and that's just a part of investment or swing trading. You have to understand your risks at the lower levels. You have to understand the risks of the higher levels, and this is kind of how CleanSpark is looking to me right now. The very fact that it's still kind of stuck within this volume shelf right here tells me that there's still a lot of support right around here, so I'm not necessarily going to sell out and trying to get back in. But I mean, although that's something that if you want to do, you can, but there's no guarantee it's going to get down here, right? But you have to be aware of any potential downward movement that you need to do what you need to do mentally, as well as have a plan in case of things like that is to happen. You know what to do. Now, that is the weekly. Now, the weekly Shimoku Cloud is not going to show you too much right now. You already have a pretty strong bull trend. The price broke out above the cloud. It kind of back tested D10 here a little bit and found support. And now so far this week, you got kind of like a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle here. I don't know how it's going to work out. We'll see. But priced over here, even though you had a little bit of a bullish cross right here, priced to kind of dip down here a little bit before pushing back up because it's a bull trend. It favors dipping back up because these are not going to be very, very good resistance. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's just going to hold support and just going to go up parabolic from here, although it can. There is still a possibility where it could really try to go back down and kind of back test around 13.5 or 13 or so before going up higher. Do I count on that happening? No. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and I don't want to just bet on that. I think the potential upside is still going to be a lot higher than any potential downsides in the short term. I don't want to try to be too cute about it, but I just want you to be aware of any potential downsides. Now, this is CleanSpark. I do want to, again, draw a couple of Fibonacci levels here to kind of give you an idea. This is kind of a little bit of the top from last cycle. I'm just going to do a little bit of a rough kind of drawing here. You can see that price that got rejected from 0.5 right now is kind of back testing 0.382 around 7.5. This could potentially just be a wick down though, right? I mean, I think you're basically talking about breakthrough here at the 0.382 fib level, and this could just be a back test of that before going higher, or it could go down lower. I don't know, but right now I still find that the week is still not closed yet. This potential bearish engulfing weekly candle may not necessarily end up being bearish engulfing. I don't know what's going to happen. It's only Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. I do not feel strongly about selling and trying to buy back down lower, although some people might, and I can see why. There's no guarantee that it's going to happen though. You have a lot of daily gaps there underneath right down here. Some people are also eyeing these filling of these gaps here, although I don't really feel strongly that these gaps would necessarily have to be filled, especially when Bitcoin is at 72,000. So that's just something to kind of think about, knowing what other people are talking about. Now, one thing I do want to say is that it does have kind of like this head and shoulder look right here, which is generally not the most favorable look. It just basically means that bulls are trying to push up above, and they've been failing to do so. And right now you're kind of getting a little bit of a head and shoulder, a little bit of weakness from the bulls. And last time you had a very similar look here. You do have a little bit of head and shoulder look. If they go back down and try to test the fib level below before going parabolic up again. Is it going to do the same thing? Is it going to fill the gaps down below? There's no guarantee. I mean, again, this is a very, very strong bull trend. Higher high, higher low, and higher high. So I'm not sure whether or not it's necessarily going to drop down to these levels and fill the gaps. And I just show you there's still plenty of support level underneath. So I'm not sure if it's going to do that, but it does have a head and shoulder look here. I do want to point that out. I don't want you to get caught with your pants down and and not being aware that something like this is happening. Do I think that this is necessarily going to work out? No, but does it look like a potential valid head and shoulder? It does, because really it's a consolidation here, waiting for the next move with the volume kind of going down. It does look like a potential valid head and shoulder, but there's a lot of head and shoulders in the past that has not worked out. Just because you see a head and shoulder doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out. Look at over here. You have a potential head and shoulder here. It could potentially go down. Some people think a head and shoulder may be a little bit more of like a reversal pattern. So this might not necessarily be a fair thing to say, but there's a lot of head and shoulder patterns if I show you other charts from other things that may not necessarily work out. And it's just something to be aware that this could be the case. But does it necessarily mean that it's ornaments? No, not necessarily. I mean, it could potentially go down to 15. This is a formation that's forming, but you really need confirmation once it breaks down below 15. That's when you really know that this is a true, head and shoulder pattern that's really truly playing out. But it's something to keep in mind here, and this is something that the bears have been, really kind of paying attention to in the short term. Do I want to bet against this and, saying that it is a head and shoulder to short it or to sell and try to buy back lower? No. If I would have really trying to take profit, I would have really trying to do it at these Fibonacci levels up here, which generally is certain surface pretty decent resistance level on the way up. I'm not going to do that right here, especially when there are multiple supports down here. But you can see how sometimes day traders and swing traders may be looking for an opportunity here to try to do that, especially since the monthly has a little bit of a tweezer look, and especially since the monthly is still way outside of the Bollinger Band. I can see the risk rewards from people who are trying to short this or trying to sell and try to buy lower. But with a strong parabolic bull trend, there's no guarantee. And that's my message. My message is I don't know what to tell you. I'm just showing you what the levels are and what the numbers are. I'm showing you the trend. I'm telling you that I'm not going to be cute about it, but you can be if you want to. You can do whatever you want. I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. Anyway, thank you for listening. Bye.